Well, hello everybody. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here. Another Wednesday, and that means another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Glad you're stopping by. If you're stopping by, I know a lot of you may. I say a lot of you may not be here because that would mean you were out doing something. But I was going to say it's that last minute Christmas shopping time, and I've been out today, and man. The streets are busy. People just waving their credit cards. Here, let me spend it. I got to get something for somebody. Anyway, let me start saying hello. Camilla, how are you? Mukti, what's going on? Michael Glover, how you doing? David Rodriguez, hi, Dave. Thanks for the birthday wishes. And happy 40th, David. All good stuff. A little reminder, I'll remind you again, this is going to be the last Ask Dave Fennoy Anything for 2019. I believe next Wednesday is Christmas, is it not? So I won't be doing it then. And we'll return to Ask Dave Fennoy Anything on January 8th. I would probably come back on the second or third, but I'm going to be shooting a movie, and I have a medium-sized part. Okay, it's probably really a small part in a horror film, and I'm really looking forward to doing on camera. I don't do a lot; it always happens by accident, and hey, another accident happened. Alex Wood, what's going on, man? Ryan Everly, I see you. Veronica Dillard, how you doing? DK Voices, Les Holmes, what's up? Tommy Graffman, and, I like to mention my friends, and if they're doing something that might service everybody else, Tommy Graffman is the man. If you got a Mac, he can Mac your day. That's the name of his company, Mac My Day, and whenever I have a problem with my Mac, I call Tommy, and sometimes he doesn't even have to come by. Sometimes he can do it remotely, but takes care of my computers fantastically. Now, you will have to put up with his bad jokes. I'm sorry to say, but, every now and then one of them really hits, and you'll laugh. Veronica, how you doing? Cindy Brooke and David Wright. Whoa, big time. Nice to thank you. And let's get some of your questions. What are you doing here at the end of the year? Anything you're getting ready for? Anything you're wrapping up? Planning for new demos, what's going on with you? What are the kinds of things you think you should be doing, or you have questions about what you should be doing here at the end of the year to get ready for 2020? This is the time we start having our New Year's resolutions. I'll tell you one that I had for years. I probably should still have it. To make more money, but spend less time doing it. That was my New Year's resolution for many years. And it kind of worked. That whole thing of working smarter, not necessarily harder. Work hard at everything you do, but don't work in ways that you're putting in way more effort than you're getting back. Sometimes we have to get somebody to help us. There's things I can do myself. It's very much a do-it-yourself world, but not everybody can build a website. Not everybody can put together, as a matter of fact, nobody should put together their own demo. Not everybody can put together a studio. You're going to need some help. So figure out what it is that you do really well, and find the people who can help you. And one of the things I love about the voiceover community is we do help each other. And not all services have to be for money. From time to time, you can just swap out. You do this, know how to do that, and you trade your services for somebody else. And we can all move ourselves along. I've been asked from time to time about how do I feel about voiceover competition? Aren't there people taking jobs that you might like? Nobody can take your job because nobody is you. We're all trying to get the same jobs that are going out, the cartoons, the video games, the narrations, the commercials. But when you're right for the job, you're right for the job, you're right for the job. Your real job is to audition wonderfully. In my classes, I tell people, look, there are no auditions, there are only performances. If you are turning out great performances, you are going to book your share of jobs. All right, let me look here, see who's saying what. Andrea Jones has just finished a class with Paul Pape and ready to do a new reel. SAG-AFTRA has been offering amazing classes. Yes, they do. And I promised SAG-AFTRA that I'll do another workshop over there in January on voice acting for video games. We don't have a date yet, probably be later in January, but we'll see. Michael Scott got the microphone you recommend. Dave just wanted to say thank you. Well, I recommended a couple. I think I recommended a 103 and a Sennheiser 416. That's a Neumann TLM 103. Which one did you get? Let me know. Alex Wood, couple of VO gigs coming up, wrapping up the cage. Agent meets, shooting a pilot, writing 2 new scripts, and that's just January. Alex, I wish I had your energy, man. You're just doing it. I love that. And it being a do-it-yourself world, let's say you're writing, you're working as a voice actor, you're meeting agents, and let's, just because you brought that up, I mentioned something about meeting agents, going in to hopefully be signed by a good agent. Don't just go in with the idea that it's like a job interview, because it's a little different than that. Job interview, you're going in, you're going to see if somebody will hire you to do a job for them. Do you have the right qualifications, how much you're going to get paid, and all that kind of stuff. But your agent is actually working for you. And there are a lot of good agents out there, but not all of them do the same thing. And what I mean by that is some cover everything. I have the good fortune of being with an agent that is very strong across the board. Not all agents are. There are agents who maybe mostly what they do are commercials, or maybe mostly what they do are narration, or maybe mostly what they do are TV promos. Whatever it is that you do, whatever your strong suit is, you want an agent that matches up with that. And I'm going to say strong suits because a lot of us do a number of different things. I do TV promos, I do narration, video games, animation, and you want an agent that can handle all of that, that's getting enough copy that you get lots of opportunities to audition, because our real jobs are to audition. Okay, Michael Glover, getting ready for On Camera Myself. Curious about e-learning VO work. Is it long reads? Do you do a lot of e-learning work? I do a fair amount of e-learning work. And generally, the reads are not that long. It's not like doing an audio book. But with e-learning, what you want to realize is, especially for children, you have to be a little more concise in how you speak, because part of what you're teaching them is how to speak properly, and you want them to understand everything you are saying. And that's different than playing a character where you're not teaching anything, you're just trying to bring that character to life. So what your purpose is for what you're doing is going to give you a lot of how you should do what you're doing. All right. DK Voices, yes. Ellen Dubbin, how you doing? And bravo on some of the things I've seen you've been doing, Ellen. Good work, good work. Adam Starcaster, happy holiday day, much love and wishes. Thank you so much, Adam. Johnny Cage, Oliver and Talbert, Alex, auditions are the Sunday. The job is just a cherry. There you go. Yeah, you got the 416, Michael Scott. Everybody give him a big hand. Michael Scott, the Sennheiser 416, the LA voiceover mic. It is one of the most versatile mics that you can get because you can work it from far away, you can work it close, you can work it from the side. It hears right what it's pointed at really well, and other things not so well. What's your suggestion for pricing? I booked a VO gig, not through my agent, for an animation book they're turning into an ebook. Oh, wow. Well, that's going to depend. What category is it going to fall in? You say it's for an animation book. They're turning into an well, so it would be e-learning. What I would do right off the top of my head, I don't have a price for you, but what I would do, I would go to SAG-AFTRA's site and check out what they say is the price, the union scale for that. There's a couple other places you can look as well, but sometimes it gets a little tough. This category, that category, this category, that category. And sometimes it'll break down to how many hours, how many lines, and people are even charging by the word. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm one of the characters. Well, congratulations, Veronica. Good for you. How's Connection open to use, work with? Well, I'm going to tell you, I've talked about Connection Open a little bit over this last year, and I have kept in touch with the Connection Open people, Randy Morrison, and it's interesting. We had a conversation today. We did a little test yesterday. Video has come to Connection Open. It's not quite ready for everybody, but there's going to be an unveiling in January, and you're going to be very pleased and very surprised at how good it is and that it can be used with video, kind of like Skype. I could see you, you could see me, and we'd hear each other clearly. So hang on, more to come in January. Alex Wood, energy is a great thing, but to anyone who read my comment, don't be afraid of the no. Don't say yes to a job just because you don't pack on so much of your... don't say yes to a job just cause. Don't pack on so much your work suffers. And don't be embarrassed to make people... Don't be embarrassed. Some people can do more than you. Make sure your work is quality and not quantity. Wow. I wish I'd said that. That would have been brilliant of Dave Fennoy to say on Ask Dave Fennoy something. Very good advice. I think we all... I remember I played tennis, and I was in a couple of tournaments a few years ago, and I played a tournament in the morning and a tournament in the afternoon, and I thought I was Superman. And the tournament in the morning, I won. I did very well, and I was feeling really good. I went to the tournament in the afternoon, and somewhere after the first set, I just didn't have any energy. You got to know how to pace yourself in anything, and that includes voiceover work. My voice will not last as long now as it used to last. My range is not quite as wide as it used to be. So you've got to kind of stay in tune with yourself, not overwork yourself, but definitely work enough. And there's some jobs I'm just not going to take anymore, that I just don't want to look for anymore, because I don't want to do a particular kind of thing. And fortunately now don't have to. Be precious with yourself. Don't just take anything. I remember when I was in radio, and I would meet people that were coming in for interviews, and they were trying to get in radio, and they were willing to do anything in radio. And I understood the mindset, but I had a manager after one of those interviews with somebody said, well, you know what? Seems like a good guy. I can't hire him, though, because I don't know what he wants to do. I don't know what direction he wants to go in. He just said, I'll do anything. And you're going to do much better if you have some focus. All right. Natalia Bykov, how are you? Also, is $75 a good rate? $75 a minute a good rate? That's what they offered me, $75 a minute. Well, I'll put it this way. A 15-second, a 30-second, a 60-second commercial is going to pay you, LA rates about $350 for a radio spot. $75 a minute when you could do 3 minutes or do a minute for about $350. I don't think that's a good rate. That is very, very low. Hey, Bryce Middleton, what's going on, man? Elliot Sloan. Merry Christmas to you, Natalia. Kelly Keys, what's happening, Pamela? Diane. Also, do you suggest the client providing half the money first, then I provide my recordings, then receive the full payment, or should all the details just be spelled out in the contract? Well, spell out all the details in the contract, and that's something that actually, if you wanted to or felt more comfortable with spelling out in the contract, you could do. And, once again, fortunately, I have an agent. I'm in the union. I've got somebody who negotiates for me and someone who makes sure they collect my money. A lot of us, and for some jobs that I end up doing, I don't have that, and I have to do the same thing. And you have to have it in writing because people forget, or what's the old saying? Never mind the old saying. But if you're doing a job like this, they're already lowballing you. I would get half my money in front. I don't think that's unreasonable. Make sure you get that, and don't release the product until they pay or have a promise of what day they're going to pay. I have clients that, it's 30 days and it's going to be 30 days, but 30 days later they do pay. If you don't know who they are, if they're lowballing you, especially nowadays, just be kind of careful. Get that half money up front. I think that's a good idea. That way, if they do turn out to be rats, they didn't get you for everything. Michael, Randy Morrison, that's his name. Excellent. When you send your recording files over, do you use Highland or some other large file sharing system? I do not use Highland. My favorite is WeTransfer. It's very easy to use. You can send huge files. Dropbox is also pretty good. I used to use Dropbox most of the time, but I've learned to kind of like WeTransfer better. And yeah, you do need to be able to do that. You might even want to have, sometimes your clients have an FTP site. I think fewer and fewer people are using FTPs when there are things like Dropbox and WeTransfer. Hello, Dave from Nighttime in Ireland. Hey, Letty, how are you? Let's see, Alex Woods. Depends on what the contract is. If it's an audiobook, that's good because normal rate is about $200 an hour, so $75 a minute may be good depending on the length. If it's over 3 minutes, take it. If it's not, request union standards. Yeah, it's so funny. I tell the story of walking into ABC and saying next. They put it on 5 spots or 20 spots, and a couple weeks later I had a check for $5,000. Where the prices are for our work are all over the place, depending on what kind of work it is. And so we have to be careful. And if you're somebody that's been doing audiobooks and suddenly you have something else, it's going to seem like, wow, how come I'm being paid so much money now and I wasn't then? Different genres just want to pay you different amounts of money. Let's see. And if it seems like I'm rushing, it's because I am. I love being here, but I also want to do a little last-minute Christmas shopping myself in a little bit. As we get going next year, I'm going to take one of the things I say in my classes and try to explain them in a way. Hopefully, what I'm doing is not just giving you answers for things you're talking about or my thoughts on things that you're talking about. Sometimes they're not even really answers, are they? But kind of give you a perspective on how I teach and how some other teachers might mean what they... A lot of us are saying the same thing using different words. And this one is something I say all the time. The words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. The words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. I say that for a very specific reason. So often in voiceover, when all we have is a microphone in front of us and the words, we concentrate way too much on saying those words. We concentrate on getting the words right, perfectly enunciating everything, making sure everything is falling in a wonderful rhythm, and that every word is heard. For some things, that's going to be great. For most, not. What happens is you take away the you when you do that. The idea of reading the words on the page is not to sound like you're reading, but to talk to somebody, communicate with somebody, and all the better if you're communicating as yourself, as if you are saying these words, somebody else's words that you have made your own, and you are saying in the rhythm of your voice, the way you speak, the perfections and imperfections that are in your voice, the pauses that you naturally make just because of who you are and where you came from and how you came up and how you think, that makes it yours, as opposed to some voice, oh, I heard the words, but they didn't touch me. And when you're just reading words and what you're trying to get is perfection in the reading of the words, they're going to fall flat. They're going to fall flat. So the words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. My intention is to give you the idea that the words aren't really the most important thing. What you're saying is, and I said, well, aren't you saying the words? Yeah, you are saying the words, but what's behind the words? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's your purpose? Who are you talking to? What's that relationship? The words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. You're not just reading words. You have a reminder. You have they're jotted down there so you don't forget. But you still want to communicate those words to that 1, 2, 10,000 people, however many it is you're talking to. And the reason I say more than just one, because always the rule of thumb, we're talking to one person. Well, sometimes we're talking to many people. And when we do, our voices come out in a little different way. All right. Luc de Villars, bonsoir, mon cher. Dave, the question is, on a VA job, when you're putting a lot of emotion and energy on the acting, and at the very end, the people in the studio are giving their thumbs up and saying that's a wrap, do you feel like you could have done more, better, differently, or do you trust the decision of people in the studio and simply feel good about the performance and go home with a smile and knack two after long hours in the studio? I'm not sure what that and knacked two, probably napped two after long hours in the studio. This is a good one. This one of the reasons we all do this is because we love doing this. I must confess, at the end of every job, I feel a little disappointed that it's over. And that has nothing to do with how I felt about how I performed. It's just I love doing the job. I love working with the client. And when it's over, I'm a little disappointed. It's like, oh man, I was having so much fun. This was so good. That said, we can't get caught up sometimes on which take we think is the best take. You have to realize that you're an actor and you have a certain thought about which take is your best take, but your client also has a thought about which take is their best take. I tell you, when I listen to playbacks of video games that I am in, it has never not happened that I loved the whole thing. Sometimes it's like, why did they use that take? Wait a minute, I remember, because sometimes you can go back and remember when you hear it. I remember, let's see, I did a take that was, and I like that. The take was so much better than the one they used. Well, they didn't hear it that way. They didn't hear it that way. In my classes on voice acting for video games, I'll talk about that. I said, look, if you think you have a better take, ask them if you could do it. Sometimes they've done A, B, C, and they've decided they're going to take that B take or that C take, and you really had something else occurred to you. And, I got another one. But if they say they've got it, they've got it. More often than not, they're going to say, oh, yeah, go ahead. But maybe they're pressed for time. Maybe there's something in what you did that you didn't hear that was wonderful, but to them was wonderful. And they're the client, they're the one paying you, so be satisfied with that. They've given you that thumbs up. We're not just there for ourselves and the enjoyment of doing what we do. We do enjoy it. We love doing what we do. But we're giving a service for somebody else who's paying a fee to some studio someplace. So, be respectful of their time and their decision making and on what it was from you that they wanted, and move on. Good question, though. Here's to what I keep meaning to ask you. Some months ago, hey, Michael Haskins. Some months ago, a big studio in New York liked my soundscape page. I have no content at all. Why would a studio do that? Plus, I'm not ready. Huh. And they liked your soundscape page. You know what? You'd have to ask them. I have no idea. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe you had some background music or sound design there that they really liked. I don't know. But you might want to ask them. Alex again, hey, McDonald's commercial isn't selling hamburgers, it's selling happiness. Make sure the true and real emotion of the brand is there and it will be successful. True. So many products now. We're talking about a car, we're talking about a beer, we're talking about a hamburger, fried chicken, or shoes, or whatever it is. But what we're really selling is the feeling that we want that customer or potential customer to have when they think about purchasing that product. So many products now. Beer is beer. And I know some beers it's different than some other beers. But when you actually look at the beer commercials, they are some of the most creative because so often they're not really selling the taste of beer. They're selling a whole experience of what it's like to drink that beer in this situation with those pretty girls over there and these cool guys over here doing this wonderful thing, that this beer is part of a really cool lifestyle. When we're selling cars, we're selling a feeling that you have with that car. And just about everything else. It's not just about this is a great product and it will service you. Some are, it's toothpaste, so it's going to get your teeth whiter and cleaner and brighter and all of that. But even that is because, your breath will be kissable. Your teeth will look clean and white and bright, and she will love you or he will love you. We're selling how this product is going to make our lives better, make us feel better about ourselves, enhance this journey from birth to the end. Good point there, Alex. Good point. Veronica, are you familiar with the Big VO event happening in Atlanta? You're talking about VO Atlanta in March. Of course I am going to be there. I'll be teaching a couple of different things while I'm there. One, voice acting for video games, and I'll be doing a workshop on finding your signature voice. I'll also be doing a workshop on finding your signature voice in January at Voice Track San Francisco. Excuse me. One of the reasons I have added that to the curriculum that I teach is because so many people who have come out of radio or they got their start as a big voice, and they're trying to get into the voiceover game, and they're out of radio, and they keep talking like this, and they keep making sure that every word is heard, and that they're emphasizing everything, and they've never learned how to back away from that and just talk to people. And people who didn't come from there and are trying to do something other than themselves. They haven't learned how to be themselves. They're not quite sure who they are yet. And we find ways for you to discover who you are with help from other people in the class. And once again, like the VO community, it's a number of people helping you discover who you really are. And one of the interesting things, who you think you are may not be who the voiceover client thinks you are when you open your mouth. And we work with that too. Let's see. Alex Wood there said, "I'm so excited about VO Atlanta." VO Atlanta, there's several good voiceover conferences. VO Atlanta is one of my favorite. I put it in the top 2. I love that's voiceover, but it's one day. VO Atlanta is like 4 days. There are so many workshops. There are so many people there talking about every aspect of voiceover, every genre you could imagine. And not just the genres, but how to get business, how to bill for business. Just anything you could think of in voiceover is there. There are great opportunities to win scholarships for getting demos done and classes. You're going to meet lots of great voiceover people who've been in the business for a long time, and also people somewhere else along their journey from beginner to pro who has something to share, and that sharing sometimes isn't knowledge. Sometimes it's, I have been where you are, or I am where you are. This is a very, very difficult business psychologically. When you think about the number of things you audition for that you do not book, and that's going to be the vast majority of things you audition for, you are not going to book. And it can be tough on your psyche, especially when you're just beginning. You don't realize that. Or you don't realize the extent, and then you're in 5 years and you're kind of sort of making it maybe, but you're still wondering why you're not booking more and not getting the realization that, this is the way it is. You are not going to book most of the things you audition for. That can be tough on the psyche. Sometimes you just need somebody else who's been there or is there that understands what you are going through, because your mama might not, your daddy might not, your girl, your guy, your friends who aren't in this do not understand. You need somebody that can appreciate the difficulty you're going through, and also the joy that you're going through when you book something, and how important that is to you. So definitely go to at least one voiceover convention, and this is a good one to go to. And if you haven't signed up yet, I highly recommend it. You can get in at different levels. They have what they call X sessions. So you can, if you're interested in voiceover, in video games, you can take X sessions from me. If you're interested in audiobooks, there are people you can take X sessions from. Whatever it is, if automobiles, the automotive world, which is a whole world unto itself in voiceover, there are lessons in that. So you'll learn so much, not only the how-tos, but the what-ares. What is the automotive voiceover business like? What are the opportunities there? You probably haven't thought about that. You maybe thought about being the voice of a particular kind of car, but maybe not car parts and used cars and dealerships around the country. There's a lot of money to be made. I mean, we are all in business. So yeah, VO Atlanta, big thumbs up. Damon Ellums. Yes, ma'am. Every year in around March. That's right. Yes, VO Atlanta is annual. Lots of agents, casting directors. Thank you. Bring your card. Oh, gosh. Oh, absolutely. And I'll go over this again. I know I've gone over it before as we were approaching that voiceover. Get your cards, definitely. Vistaprint has them for cheap. You can get them other places too. You can get them very cool. I suggest you get cards with your picture on them, because I know when I have left a convention, I have met a bunch of people. I've been given a lot of cards, and sometimes, that after 2 or 3 days and you've got 50, 60, 70 cards and you're going through and you're not going to remember who everybody is. But if they've got a picture on it, you're going to remember. Also, on the card game, get your cards, give your cards out, but get the cards from the people you want to stay in contact with. Don't just think because you gave me your card that I'm going to call you or email you or get in touch. It's probably not going to happen. If you want something from me, contact me. If I don't get back to you right away, contact me again. Don't get bent out of shape. Be persistent. Enough said. Okay. I'm glad I'm back. Okay. Michael has, as far as learning business basics, check out your local community colleges for free seminars. Oh, good advice. Luke de Villar. By the way, Luke, your package is coming after Christmas, because what they wanted to send a package to France was ridiculous during the holiday season. So your rations are on their way, or will be on their way. Some people new or in VO, voice acting, voiceover. I have auditioned in my studio and have a wonderful voice and read very nicely. Give always a conversation feeling when they read, although some of them sound not the same when they have the microphone in front of them. Probably stress or anxiety. What would be your best advice I could share with them so that they feel more relaxed and confident, and how to forget the microphone? Wow. That is one of the biggest things. And people do step to a microphone and they were talking like this, and this is their voice, and they, I wanted to be, and then suddenly they try to be this guy. And unless you're really good at mimicking, I mean, there are people who can make that work. But most of the time, most clients are really looking for who you really are. And if you have that kind of nasally, nerdy voice, guess what? There are a lot of people out there with nasally, nerdy voices that may relate to that or feel like, I know who that person is. And that's the person that I want talking to me. Psychologists over the last few years have said most of us, as consumers, want to hear not necessarily from an expert, but somebody that reminds us of us, somebody that we relate to, somebody that we will have a trust of. And sadly or not, right now is in this country, we don't necessarily have a trust of experts. So the person that actually has studied and knows, we don't necessarily trust. For better or worse, there's a certain feeling of my lack of knowledge is just as good as your knowledge. That somehow, if I don't know, I am untainted. It makes no sense. But this is part of the human condition. And sometimes the person that a consumer wants to hear from is somebody that they feel agrees with them. Somebody that they feel has the same kind of lifestyle they have. Someone who has been what they have been through. And it makes, it actually opens up the opportunities for voiceover, because we need every kind of voice out there to service the vast marketplace for commercials and narration, video games, animation, all of it. So having a wonderful voice means nothing. Now, getting back to your question, how do you get them to forget the microphone? It's one of the reasons I like the 416, because it's a shotgun. You can move it way out of the way, and it helps you forget that it's there. Other than that, you have to keep reminding them. The microphone is like the camera. You wouldn't want an actor that's constantly looking at the camera. I'm supposed to be reading my lines over here, and then I'm looking at the camera. We have comedies, they break the fourth wall now. but you have to learn that that is just there, but pay it no attention. Okay. Also, so many people are just starting out, they've never heard their voice the way the microphone hears their voice. What they've heard is their voice in their head. They have an idea of what they sound like, and then suddenly they hear their voice coming out of speakers, and it's different, it's wrong, it's putting on headphones a lot of times is a problem for people because then they're listening so much to their voice. I like to have people work without headphones as much as they can with a microphone. Sometimes I'll have students not record. No, sit there and just sit in front of me and let me hear what you've got. I stick in the booth, and if you comfortable with the microphone, you're not thinking about the microphone, great. Once you can do that, once you forget the microphone is there, you just know where to stand in relationship to it, then you can work that microphone. Then you can sometimes get a little closer so you can get that effect of breath and depth. And then you can move back so you can get that sound of, talking from a distance someplace. But first, get to the point where you forget that the microphone is there and you're not listening to hear your voice. You're just talking like you would talk to your friends anywhere. Okay. Hey, Randy Morrison. I would have loved to have been the voice on the Lincoln Continental a couple of years ago. I know the feeling. I wanted Dave in the Cage. I got his card within 5 minutes of meeting him. Invade. I didn't run into him again. You got to make sure you make the connections you want quickly. Be kind, friendly, and easy to talk to. Most of the people like myself who have been doing this for a while and were there to share information and are very open. It sometimes saddens me when people come up and they're like, "Oh, I'm nervous to talk to you." I'm really a regular guy. Or as I tell people now, I'm a regular guy with a really cool job. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. And if walking up to somebody and saying hello, if they're in the bathroom doing their thing, give them some privacy. If they're sitting eating a meal with somebody, maybe that's not the best time. If they're in the middle of a conversation, wait your turn. But most of the people I know in this business who are there teaching a workshop, doing a presentation or something, are happy to say hello, take your card, spend a little time, realize other people may be standing by, they may be on their way to this, that, or other, but giving them that card, saying hello, getting their card, which is even more important, getting their card, and letting them know, hey, I'm going to get in touch with you, nice to meet you, so forth and so on. Get their card, follow up. Luke de Villar. Well, my birthday's in January. Mine too. When's your birthday, Luke? It'll be a hell of a good birthday. Yeah, there you go. Mark Aaron Gilman joined. Hey, yes, on Hear Your Voice. That's when I learned how bad I had lazy mouth. When you say lazy mouth, there's a time I would have said, oh, yes, we've got to fix that lazy mouth and make sure that you are enunciating every word completely, perfectly, and clearly. And it would be a good thing to, this is our instrument and we want to be able to control it and do different things with it, like a great musician who can play many styles of music, can play loud, can play soft. But we also are playing human characters. And once again, so much of voiceover these days is less about being a professional voice that is clear and heard as a voice that relates, a voice that people have a feeling they know who this person is and they understand them and are willing to listen to them. So, yeah, let's work on the mush mouth a little bit, but let's not give away all of yourself to becoming a better speaker. Oh, Well, Alex, your birthday's also in January. There you go. Oh, you're Capricorn. All right. Hey, what's up? Andre. 8th of January. Well, I'm the 20th of January. Bruce Falconer, Cake Mix Recording Studios in Dallas. How you doing, Bruce? And I'm glad you're there. I got to give you a call, and we got to set something up for later on next year. You would, Michael Haskins, I would pronounce with. I was out with my friends and we was, but see, that could be a cartoon character that people might love. I was out with my friends and we was just having such a good time. And then this man came up and he wanted us to pay him money. John Groves, are you in Hawaii, John? You in the islands? And Adam Carlson. And you know what? I think I'm going to begin to wrap this up unless another good question comes in. I want to say thank you to everybody that has joined me for Ask Dave Fennoy Anything on these Wednesdays in 2019. We will continue in 2020. Where did that come from? I am going to get my eCam system down so that it works, so that I can have guests on who have something else to say besides what I have to say. But it's a joy for me. I hope it benefits you. And just want to mention, if you want private classes, DaveFennoy.com, go to the Study VO tab. Sign yourself up. As a matter of fact, you can sign up without buying classes, and you'll start getting from time to time updates on what I'm doing and where I'm going to be teaching and those kinds of things, and any particular deals, if I'm going to give some discounts on blocks of classes and that kind of thing. So DaveFennoy.com, Study VO. You can sign up, you can book yourself for some classes, or just sign up to get the info. And with that, I'm going to say good evening, happy rest of 2019, a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you are celebrating. I hope you have the best, and I will see you in 2020. All the best.